Today we are going to learn about the importance of inclusive communication so that you can increase your social initiations, relationships, network and behavior skill. And we are going to start right now. What is going on, people? My name is Clement and welcome to another video. If this is your first time and you want to learn how to improve your communication skills, other how-to stuffs and get motivated on YouTube, then make sure to hit on the subscribe button so that you don't miss a thing. When it comes to politics and social issues, we all have our own opinion. Yet one thing most of us can agree on is that everyone, regardless of their background or individual characteristics, deserves to be treated with respect. Now wait, hold on. What exactly is an inclusive communication anyway? Well, in a nutshell, a good inclusive communicator takes care not to alienate or offend an entire group of people based on their personal attributes. They do not make assumptions based on an individual's characteristics. Inclusive communication acknowledges and values diversity. Mastering this skill is increasingly important in the 21st century. Thanks to globalization, people from all backgrounds can now work and socialize together. Inclusive communication builds harmonious relationship between individuals and it even boosts business performances. Research reflects a positive correlation between gender diversity, ethnic diversity, and profit in organization. Now, without wasting any more time, let's get to the tips. Tips for inclusive communication. Number 1. Do not emphasize a characteristics if it isn't necessary to do so. For example, let's suppose that you're telling your team that an employee from another department is scheduled to work with them on a new project. This employee, a man called Sam, happens to be a gay. It won't be appropriate to say, Sam, the gay guy from department X, will be joining us on Monday. Sam's sexual orientation is not relevant to his work, so drawing attention to these characteristics is not necessary. Number 2. Don't assume a person's gender or sexual orientation. Choose gender-neutral terms if possible. For example, if your manager is leaving the company and you do not know yet the gender of their replacement, it is more appropriate to use they in reference to the possible candidate instead of he or she until a permanent replacement is selected. Do not assume that a person is heterosexual. It is better to use terms like partner or significant other instead of boyfriend, wife, and so on. If you need to talk about someone's disability, do so in neutral terms. It's true that many people with disabilities do suffer as a result, but it is presumptuous to make statements such as Peter suffers from epilepsy. Number 3. Focus on a person, not any disability they might have. Do not define someone by their condition or illness. For example, it is better to say Pat has depression rather than Pat is depressive or Pat is depressed. Number 4. Do not hold stereotypes. Making assumptions based on someone's nationality, ethnicity, or other characteristics is offensive because it shows a lack of respect for persons or individuals or someone's talent and personality. This philosophy stays true even of positive stereotype. For example, if you meet a Chinese accountant, it would be inappropriate to suggest that Chinese people naturally make good accountant because Asians are very good at maths. Number 5. Show respect for race and ethnicity through proper capitalization or written communication. For instance, Native American, black should always be capitalized. If in doubt, look up the term in a dictionary or use a reputable online resource. Number 6. Be mindful of context. Bear in mind that in some instances it is acceptable for members of a group to use words that would be offensive if used by outsiders. For example, some member of the LGBT community refers to themselves as queer. However, this word is usually considered offensive if used by heterosexual person, and not all LGBT people accept it in the first place. If in doubt, any loaded terms that have historically been used to insult or belittle others are best to avoid it. Number 7. Avoid patronizing individual or groups of people. If you have a disability, you might have heard someone describe you as brave or inspiring for carrying out normal day-to-day tasks such as cleaning your home, going to work, or exercising at the gym. I have a cousin who walks with a cane following a car accident several years ago. Several well-meaning people have praised him for being an inspiration. Their intentions are good, but my cousin feels really very bad. Do not assume just because someone has disability that they want to be recognized for mere existing. Now let's put the whole thing into practice. Exercise 1. Do you express assumptions or stereotypes, whether positive or negative, when talking about particular groups? Mention in the comment below about your experiences. The next time you take part in conversation that includes a discussion about other people, consider whether your choice of words is respectful. You could be more inclusive communicator, isn't it? If applicable, make note of where and how you could improve next time around. Exercise 2. Switch on the TV or go to YouTube and find a show that features a lot of dialogues. Watch it for 15 to 20 minutes. Other people taking part in conversation upholding any negative views or beliefs about particular groups? Do you hear similar languages in your everyday interaction? If so, how could you challenge or change it? That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching the video, and if you want to see more, just click on the subscribe button. Till then, peace.